Hello, dear friends. I again welcome you back on my YouTube channel, wherein in this session I'm going to speak about the quarks. I hope you have seen the last video, which is related with the symmetry theories in particle physics. Now, we have studied that when we speak about an atom, we say it is made up of a centrally placed nucleus around which electrons are revolving, right? But later on, it has been found that nucleus itself is not the smallest particle, but it is made up of again very smaller particles. What we called it as the nucleons. It include proton, it include neutron. So, protons and neutrons at that time are supposed to be the smallest particles, what we called it as the elementary particles of this universe. But later on, the study says that these are not the nucleons, these are not the protons and neutrons, which are the smallest one in this universe, but these particles itself are made up of truly fundamental particles of the universe. What we called it as the quarks. Quarks are supposed to be the smallest particles that are present in this universe. Quarks are the elementary particles or fundamental particles from which this universe has been made up of. So, in when we speak about the elementary particles, you must say the elementary particles are the particles that include quarks, the particles that include leptons, for example electron, and these particles, this elementary particle group, it also include the field particles such as graviton, photon, gluon, vector boson, right? So don't get surprised if somebody says you that yes, these are the leptons, these are the quarks, and these are the field particles that are the elementary particles. It is not like the mesons or baryons or neutrons, protons. These are not the elementary particles, but quarks, electrons, or leptons, you can say, and the field particles, they form a group, what we called it as the elementary particles or fundamental particles. Now, how many types of quarks are there? There are total 6 types of quarks. The very basic type include up quark and down quark. Up quark and down quark. This was the most fundamental type of quark that has been suggested by theory. Later on, it has been found that these two quarks, okay, which is nothing but the doublet, isospin doublet, which is having the same value of isospin but opposite value of third component of isospin T3, right? Here for up quark and down quark, the value of isospin quantum number is 1 by 2. But the third component of isospin quantum number is plus 1 by 2 for up quark and minus 1 by 2 for down quark. So we can say up quark and down quark, it form an isospin doublet. But these two quarks are not sufficient to explain the structure of strange particles, right? We know that few baryons are strange particles. So, in order to explain the nature of these strange particle, a third type of quark has been suggested. What we called it as the strange quark, right? Strange quark. So, along with up quark, down quark, later on, a new quark has been suggested, what is called as the strange quark. Apart from these three flavors of quark, flavors, okay, it doesn't, it is not related with the taste of quark, right? Flavors, flavor of a quark is just like a number assigned to that quark or a property that has been assigned to quark. So these are the different flavors of quark: up quark, down quark, strange quark, right? Apart from these three, there is a charm quark, beauty or bottom quark, truth or top quark. These are different flavors or different types of the truly fundamental particle of the universe, that is a quark, right? For all these quarks, the quantum numbers are assigned. For example, as I have said, the value of isospin quantum number is 1 by 2 and 1 by 2 for up and down quark. For rest of the quarks, it is 0. The strangeness quantum number is only assigned to the strange quark. For rest of the quark, the strangeness quantum number is 0. See, the baryon number B, that is the baryon number assigned to a quark, all these quarks, is 1 by 3. Why 1 by 3? Why it has been suggested that quarks are having the baryon number equals to 1 by 3? Because when we speak about, say, proton or neutron or omega hyperon, all these are the baryons, lambda hyperon, psi hyperon, and all these particles. When we speak about these baryons, the theory says that it requires total 3 quarks to construct a baryon, right? If one baryon require 3 quarks, that means the baryon number assigned to a single quark should be one third of the total baryon. So the baryon number assigned to all these quarks is one third. Similarly, hypercharge is also assigned, and of course the electric charge is also assigned to all these quarks. So you can say up quark is a positive quark, down quark, strange quark, bottom quark or beauty quark, these are the negative quarks. The quarks are found to be very massive, right? The mass of quark is of the order of few giga electron volt per c square, where c is the speed of light. So these quarks are found to be very, very, very massive particles. The mass is found to be maximum for the top quark or truth quark. It is found to be of the order of 30 to 50 giga electron volt per c square, which is very, very, very high mass compared to the up quarks and down quark, which is having mass just about 0.339 giga electron volt per c square. Now, you have to remember here that the masses that I have shown here, these are not the mass of quark that has been calculated in the laboratory directly, because quark itself doesn't found independently or an independent body in the laboratory. It is very hard to obtain a free quark. There are various reasons behind this uh, failure, but you have to remember that the masses that I have mentioned here, these are the masses that has been calculated by using some indirect ways. And yes, the truth quark or top quark, it is more massive quark among all these three quarks, among all these six quarks. Now, one interesting thing that you have to remember here is that the baryons, baryons like this, baryons are made up of quarks only, right? For example, proton, it is a combination of two up quark plus one down quark. For example, neutron, it is a combination of one up quark and two down quarks. Sigma hyperon, It is a combination of three strange quarks, right? So in this way, baryons are made up of quarks only, right? Quarks only. But when we speak about the mesons, pi meson, k meson, these mesons are made up of quarks as well as their anti-quarks. For example, if we say up quark, there is an anti-up quark, there will be an anti-down quark, anti-strange quark, right? So mesons are made up of a combination of quark as well as anti-quark, right? For example, this is the meson octet that we have already seen in the SU3 symmetry theory. So you can observe here that each of the meson is made up of a combination of one quark and one anti-quark, represented by say U bar, that is up quark and its anti quark, up anti up quark, anti down quark, anti strange quark, like this. So the mesons are made up of quark and anti quark. When we speak about the baryons, this is the baryon octet. Again, the figure I have chosen from the book of DC Fire. It's a very favorite book for me. This is the baryon octet, and you can see that baryons are made up of a combination of three quarks. It includes only quarks. It doesn't include the anti-quarks. Similarly, the baryon decuplet, here all these baryons are found to be made up of a combination of three quarks, like this. For example, this omega hyperon, it is made up of a combination of three strange quarks. Now, a question arises here. The charge of these all these quarks is not unity, but it is a fractional charge. And the spin of all these quarks is not integral multiple of h cross, but it is half integral multiple of h cross. So quarks that are having half integral multiple of h cross spin, they follow the Fermi statistics, FD statistics, and according to that statistics, no similar quarks can stay in the same energy level. That means if omega hyperon is made up of three strange quarks, these three strange quarks should be different in some sense. There should be some property that is not same for all these quarks. These three strange quarks, they must be different from each other in some property, right? So what is that property that has been assigned to these quarks, so that we can say these particles, these quarks, they follow the Pauli's exclusion principle. So that thing has been explained by the theory of quantum chromodynamics, a very interesting theory that achieved one Nobel Prize, another Nobel Prize in particle physics in 2004. So, what is mean by quantum chromodynamics? We already studied the electromagnetic interaction. Say, if there are two charges Q1 and Q2, then they will generate some electric field around these two charges around each other, and the interaction between these two charges will be attractive or repulsive in the form of the exchange particle, what we called it as a photon. Photon is an exchange particle or field particle for the electromagnetic interaction. This theory, we called it as the quantum electrodynamics. Quantum electrodynamics. What is quantum electrodynamics? It is one version of field theory, right? Why we are saying field theory? It is related with the electromagnetic field. Like there are strong field, there is weak field, there is a gravitational field, there is electromagnetic field also. So among all these fields, here is the quantum electrodynamics that explain the interaction between charged particles in terms of exchange of photons. Right? Quantum electrodynamics is one version of field theory which describe the interaction between two charged particles in the form of exchange of photons. This is the field particle for electromagnetic field, right? The charges are producing some electric field around them, and photon is the particle that will be exchanged between these two charges during the interaction, right? Similarly, there is a quantum chromodynamics. Quantum chromodynamics, chromo means color. So quantum chromodynamics is another version of field theory, right? For example, this quantum electrodynamics is related with the electromagnetic field. Similarly, quantum chromodynamics is related with the strong field or strong nuclear field, especially you have to say strong nuclear field. Quantum chromodynamics is another version of field theory which describes the interaction between quarks interaction between quarks, just like this quantum electrodynamics. It describes the interaction between charged particles, right? Similarly, quantum chromodynamics, it describes the interaction between two quarks that takes place by the exchange of field particle of strong interaction. That is, we called it as the gluon. We know that in strong nuclear interaction, the particle that will be exchanged is the gluon, right? So, we say the quantum chromodynamics, if these are two quarks, Q1 and Q2, they will produce some field around them, just like we are saying that charged particle will produce some electric field around that particle. Similarly, the quantum chromodynamics says that quarks produce some field around themselves which is in the form of a colored field. It is said to be a colored field. Actually, color is not assigned like what we see, like red color, blue color, green color. It is not like that color, but the concept of color is different here in quantum chromodynamics. It is just like or equivalent to the electric field. It is the colored field that will be produced by the quarks around themselves. And the interaction between these two quarks, which is obviously a strong interaction, that takes place with the exchange of the field particle of strong interaction, what we called it as the gluon. This is the field particle of strong interaction. Gluons will be exchanged between these two quarks, and as a result of which the strong interaction will be takes place between two quarks Q1 and Q2. And the whole theory has been explained by quantum chromodynamics, which has received a Nobel Prize in particle physics in 2004. As I have said, color is an additive quantum number, right? It is a quantum number that has been assigned to the quarks, and which colors are assigned? It is the red color, blue color and green color, right? These three colors are assigned to the quarks. Now, as quarks are there, antiquarks will be there. So, as like the antiquarks, there will be anti-colors also. For example, there is an anti-red color for which sign color has been assigned. There is anti-blue color for which yellow color is assigned, and there is anti-green color for which magenta color has been assigned. Right? You have to remember that like the quarks, there are antiquarks, and for each of the antiquark, anti-colors has been assigned, and their specification are like this. Again remember, these colors, this color is a quantum number that has been assigned to quarks. For example, if I say up quark, you have to remember there are three types of up quarks: red up quark, green up quark, and blue up quark. And corresponding anti up quark will have colors cyan, yellow, and magenta, like this. So we can say that there is a red color, means there is an anti-red color also. There is a green color, means there is anti-green color also. And corresponding to blue color, there is an anti-blue color also. Means when we consider a omega hyperon particle, and if we say it is made up of three strange particles, then quantum chromodynamics says that these three strange particles are same in all respect, but they have different colors. If this one is having red color, it will have blue color, it will have green color, and only this combination, red, blue, green combination, is allowed. If we say let me combine red, green color, it is not allowed. Let me say if I am or I like the combination like blue, red, and red color, this is not the allowed combination according to quantum chromodynamics. What quantum chromodynamics says, it permit only that combination which gives me the final result or final state colorless, right? What is the requirement of quantum chromodynamics? The final state of combination of quarks should be a colorless state. For example, if I consider blue color and anti-blue color, if I consider the combination of blue and anti-blue color, it gives me the colorless state. If I combine red and anti-red color, the result will be a colorless state, which is a permitted combination, right? Quantum chromodynamics says that only that combination of quark color is allowed which finally gives a colorless state of that particular particle. So in this way, this omega hyperon particle that I have considered here as an example is a colorless particle. Although it has been formed by a combination of say red strange particle, blue strange particle, and green strange particle, and the interaction between these strange particles is takes place with the help of gluon. So this is this coil like symbol, this is the symbol for the gluon, and you have to remember that it is not at all possible to separate out a quark from that gluon. Gluon is always and always present there and around this quark. What the quantum chromodynamics says, right? So if you have any question related with this article, please feel free to ask me. Thank you. Have a nice day.